how about, can you guys say something about fighting? Do
you mean domestic violence?
No. Boy, like, is it okay to fight? Like, how do you, like, aggression? Just aggression, male aggression. How often do you see that in your culture? I mean, where does it go? You can go, whoever wants to go first, bro.
Yes, boys fights. Like, I believe, well, not for me, because I was relatively looks like a tall guy in my high school, so I was not bullied, but basically, I would say most of the boys in China either was, we're not talking about bully, but like I think most of the boys in China at least engaged in a fight once.
Yeah. So like,
yeah.
Is it okay? Like, what do you do with your aggression? So in China, is it okay for boys to be aggressive in that way?
No.
So they try to like hold it.
I feel like it's not because of boys or girls. It's more like the manner or the rules of the school.
Got you. So, I got you.
Like if you have fight with your classmates, they punish you not because of like you're a boy or girl. They punish you because you're not following the manner of the school.
Yeah, got you. You're not following
like
the rules.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I would see that. Bro, do you have a thought on this? Like aggression? Like it seems to me that in Haitian culture, like it's okay. Like aggression is not looked down upon in the way it is here. And it is in China.
I mean, in the Haitian culture, like aggression is like not a problem. Like it's okay to be mad. So I done seen like plenty of times in public, my dad snapped on somebody because like something was wrong. But like when he acts the first time, he's polite. But then like if it keeps going on, then that's when it's a problem. Then like he starts to get mad. So like that's yeah. But like I guess from like a different perspective, like I grew up in Philly, so like anybody could like get mad over the smallest things. Even I do. So like the smallest thing could trigger anybody, and then like it leads to like a fight, and like, it goes on to like something even bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So like, remember on Tuesday we talked about Korea. That doesn't happen in Korea. Like basically ever. Right. So it's that's interesting. Anybody? Bro, do you have like the aggression?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like in what I've seen in Latin American culture, aggression is kind of like okay. It happens. For example, like one time, a friend of mine was drunk and like he was kind of like passed out. We put him in a cooler, and like the other guy was also kind of drunk, and he was like, stand up. The cooler was empty though, and like the friends, we all came and like we told him like, go away, man. It's empty, and just leave it like that. And some of them fight it, some of them not, but it's seemed common as fighting.
So when you see men fighting, you're not surprised.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
It happens often.
Whereas you would be surprised, like on the streets in China.
Yes, because aside from aggressive, another layer of stereotype on men in China, or I think like the Eastern Asia culture is that you gotta have a good manner. So you gotta be like a sort of like gentleman stuff.
Yeah, I got you.
So
I got you.
Yeah, if you see like two men fighting, on the one hand you would think these two guys, they're like pretty aggressive, but more importantly you'll think of they don't have manners, they are not educated or stuff like that.
Got you. Yep. Bro, were you gonna say something? Then I want you to respond to this aggression thing.
I went to a Catholic high school growing up, so if anyone fought, they would basically get expelled. So, not there, but I'm pretty sure public schools around me people would get into fights all the time.
Dude, let me ask you this though, and like, to the degree to which you're part of the community or you've spent a lot of time, like, how about just like the gay male community? Like, where does aggression go?
I think if you're out, you don't really like fight, but if you're not out, then yeah, you're gonna be aggressive.
Because you're trying to keep yourself from coming out.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm not the best candidate for that question because I don't have many gay friends, to be honest.
No, it's a really interesting piece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I could answer it myself, but I don't. Where's aggression in Saudi, man? Do you see aggression?
Well, actually, I actually see it every weekend in high school.
Yeah.
So something that is,
Yo, hang on.
it's not that I'm
Wait,
proud
hang on,
of or
hang
something.
on. Yo. All right, bro.
So in high school, our school is all boys together. So there's fighting a lot after the day ends, like outside the school, especially on the weekends. Someone had beef with someone, and it gets up like every weekend or every other weekend.
And do people get in trouble for it, or is it just a thing that happens?
Well, it might escalate to something bigger, and then the police come, or it would just break off and everyone goes back to his home.
Do girls ever fight?
No, actually, it's surprising when girls fight, but it's not surprising when you see some high school kids fight.
Yeah, boys fighting, but you don't
Yeah.
see girls.
No.
Yeah. Bro, did you have a response to that?
Yeah, I mean, in India, I think it's very similar to the rest because we all. I have also grown up fighting, right? I mean, it's just a thing that boys do growing up, and I think girls are mainly considered to be more reserved, and they keep to themselves. Or when I say keep to themselves, they don't really show things out physically, at least. So they don't throw arms at each other, but. It's mainly it's very normal to see, and you'll have like a crowd that goes around if two guys are fighting, and it's just a thing. It's in our movies, Bollywood, it's very common. So
Yeah.
There's a statistics that I heard of that is really interesting, which is that when children have some when the children they tend to fight, boys goes into physicals, interactions, but girls go with verbal.
Verbal, yeah. Well, listen, but boys we're learning. It sounds like you all have learned that, right? Like you learned that part of machismo piece, right? Huh. Yeah, it's very. Hey, hang on. Hey, we're going to go in a slightly different direction. Thanks for doing this. Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks, Taylor. Thanks, bro. All right. Yeah, so, the thing for me thanks a lot. The thing that for me is so interesting is just to have these windows, and as they're talking, I just like to have these windows are opening in my brain about all of these just ways of being in the world. And just how much we're the same and how much we're different. And God, man, it's mind-blowing, actually. Hey, here's what I want to do. We have about 7 minutes. Who's got a question? We've been here. This is the end of our 7th week. Who's got a question that you want to ask? And dude, can you? About anything, man. It doesn't have to be this.
Well, this is about this.
All right, go ahead, man.
It seems pretty normal when we talk about toxic masculinity, but why is there no concept of toxic femininity or feminism?
I think because toxic masculinity it's just a term that emerged out of a gendered critique of masculinity that people started using, not just women, but men started using, and it's just the term that we use with what is toxic about men.
Oh, I understand.
No. It's just, so saying so the idea is it's just the term that we use there, and so now you just can't turn it around now and say like, okay, well let's talk about toxic femininity because then it sounds like white lives matter too. You know what I mean? Now, do you get that? I mean, you could say it like there's a lot of toxic shit about that women do. We could talk about all the toxic things that women do.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't apply the word toxic to it. I would apply something else. Because the moment I apply the word toxic to it, then
the title is a problem.
Yeah, then it becomes like, it's like Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah.
It's like, when you say Black Lives Matter, you're just saying, listen, man, can we just respond to the fact that certain things are still happening to black people? It's like, so we're just going to do like Black Lives Matter, and then white people are like, somehow feel some kind of way about it. But wait, white lives matter too. And it's like, motherfucker, we never said white lives didn't matter. We're just saying like black lives matter, right? So we can talk about things that women do, and we could go on, but I just wouldn't apply toxic femininity to it. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Okay, I have a question and then also a little response to a little interaction there. Because I've thought about this before, about this concept of toxic femininity and what I would think are like stereotypically feminine traits that I would think of as toxic. Yeah. And I find that concept kind of fascinating because I think when I think of toxic masculinity, what I think is useful about that term in comparison to things like sexism or misogyny is that it forces men not just to think about like the way they express their masculinity just in relation to women, but also to examine themselves and their relationship with other men and how they behave. And that's why I think it's very useful in comparison to like sexism, misogyny.
Yeah. I like that. No, listen, I like that because, hang on one sec, real fast. Because some of the toxicity here, it's like much of the toxicity that they would talk about, some examples, that just comes from other men. It's like, come on, man. Like, and so much of the toxicity that women experience come from other women, not from men.
And so even though I do see the point and sort of agree with the idea that like just flipping the term kind of diminishes the fact that toxic masculinity is a serious problem that needs to be looked at, and you can't just make it, it's both sides. But there is an element to like what is accepted between women and accepted behavior that should not be accepted and is toxic. Yeah. And I think that's where a term like toxic femininity could be useful.
Yes, I agree with you.
Though I like toxic masculinity, I'm afraid of things like that becoming overused or used poorly and becoming trendy and buzzwords that people fight over, and the meaning gets completely lost. And that's what I hate. But what I was going to say...
That, by the way, that's awesome. I love how you said that. I'm really in agreement. Yeah, go ahead.
And then my original question was, I mean, they're not down here anymore, so they can't really answer it. But I guess for any of the men in the room and even the women in the room, a lot of the things I was thinking about during the discussion was positive and negative masculine role models I've had in my life and how I think about them, because there are people that I would consider like archetypes of masculinity that are like very traditional, but in a positive way. Yeah. And then archetypes of masculinity that are, that have affected me personally negatively. And I think it's really important to recognize how masculine stereotypes can end up either becoming toxic and harmful, like things that like, men feeling entitled to women's bodies and showing aggression or not being able to handle their emotions properly. But there are elements of masculine values that I think are just good values in general, learning how, like not exactly stoicism, but being able to handle your emotions in a way that you don't have to like breakdown and stuff like that, like concepts like that of the positive version of those masculine ideals.
Yeah, that's cool. Like kind of like what Maji was saying,
Yeah.
and what Kai was saying. In a way, it's like
Yeah.
you're seeing in this. Yeah, dude, awesome, man. I got that.